we've put a lot of emphasis in the Department of Surgery on the idea of creativity and what it means to be creative in surgery. In a paper that just got published by Alex Tabane in the Creativity Research Journal this year, we were able to do a consensus focus group evaluation of creativity, and this is the definition I want you to reflect on. Creativity is, in this case, the generation of novel and useful products, ideas, and solutions to unsolved surgical problems or problems others have solved differently. Harvard Business Review says innovation is a product, service, business model, or strategy that is both novel and useful. So this idea of novelty and usefulness seem to be sort of the pervasive statement around what innovation, which I think seems to be used synonymously with creativity, is. What's your take on this word jargon, this word salad that we're using a lot of, and everyone's talking about being innovative, everyone's talking at least about wanting to aspire to be creative?
Sure, well, thank you. So I think some of the definitions depend on the brand that you're speaking from. And your context has to do with your confirmation bias for where you work and what message you want to give about your brand. If you Google innovation, you'll find, I don't know, 1 billion posts on what innovation is and what it means to people. Probably one of the best authors on this is Thomas Crummell from Stanford's medical school, who was the founder of a biodesign center. And in the document I sent to you, I quote a lot of what he says. And I want to qualify in saying that almost nothing I'm going to tell you is original. I'm just a student. And so I'm going to recount to you what I've synthesized from what I've learned from others. Maybe that would be original, but it's put together with bricks and parts and pieces, building the wall of knowledge that I think I may have. That largely came from others. But when it comes to innovation, I think the single most important thing is what is the problem you see that you are solving? And if we're doctors or surgeons for that matter, what problem needs to be solved? And every day we go to the operating room and individually solve these problems, innovating in the operating room. Even if we follow an approach, each patient's different. And the greatest surgeons I've ever known, to name a few, Jesse Jupiter in hand surgery, Reinhold Gans as a hip surgeon, Bassem El-Hassan, who is my successor, who is a brilliant innovator in terms of tendon transfers and reanimating the upper extremity. They look at each individual problem and they have a solution. And that's innovating without scaling. That's innovating each day in the operating room based on what you have learned to solve a particular problem. And from that can come something sometimes that you can scale. It may be that you recognize patterns and then that recognition leads to an innovation that may or may not have a monetary endpoint, or it may simply be an innovation that improves the ability of your peers or colleagues to solve a problem you've now figured out how to solve. The problem with that is the single hardest thing to innovate, or not to scale, I should say, not innovate, to scale, is expertise. And you see it all the time because of all the articles that are written about failure rates and everything else and how somebody invents an operation and it works better for that person than anybody else because everybody else is on a learning curve. So that's part of the innovation if you're a surgeon. So thinking small that way then allows you to think bigger in scaling, because the key to an innovation that allows you to become an entrepreneur, with or without money, you can be an intellectual entrepreneur. The key is being able to identify problems that need a solution, being able to see things that other people don't see, and not giving into the, well, that's good enough kind of a mindset, which is a lot of what we do. And that requires being different. And Michael Porter said, you know, Michael Porter is a famous economist at Harvard Business School and a mentor of mine. He said, if you really want to succeed in business, be different. But being different generally leads to ridicule. It leads to questions about you, and it's not part of the general culture in which we work in as surgeons. Sorry, a long-winded answer, but it's a difficult topic when you're talking about innovation.